Hey guys, so my next crochet project is going to be my first Halloween project. Uh, I am super excited to start working on this. This one is going to be using the colors Witch's Brew and Goblin. I think they look really good together. They have a lot of similar greens, and they also have black, and then the addition of the purple from the Witch's Brew. Uh, I I am so excited. I also am going to be using some additional black. This is a Big Twist value pound, and yeah, it's just in black. And it's going to be another cardigan, but I am going to be doing the granny stitch, not granny squares, the granny stitch. I have done a sweater like this before, where it's just a granny stitch back and forth. I don't know if I'm doing it correctly when it comes to like the beginning and the end of rows. I just kind of like figured out a way last time that worked for me. So I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to try something new with this video. Usually, because I crochet on the couch, I don't really film what I'm doing, but I want to, kind of show you guys what I'm doing as I'm working. So I'm going to try and film on the couch. Probably won't be talking at all, but I definitely want to like bring you along on the journey and not just have it be a bunch of updates, or in some cases no updates, since I get so in the zone and everything is downstairs. I tend to like forget that I have to like show what I'm doing. So this will definitely be a different version, and you won't have to kind of like imagine what I'm doing. I'll actually like take you on the journey with me. So this is the yarn that I'm using. In the video where I showed you this yarn, as I opened it, I said that it calls for a 4mm crochet hook. I was wrong. I read the label wrong. It's a little confusing because it doesn't actually say the hook size in millimeters. It just says its letter and number designation. So an I crochet hook is, there you go, a 5mm crochet hook. You can see it says I. And I mistook this 4-inch, which was saying you would get a 4-inch square if you crochet this many with this size hook. So I'm doing the granny stitch back and forth as flat pieces that I will then crochet together, probably like I have been doing with a single crochet that is on the outside. But I'm gonna get started on this one.
Cons and could not feel it rumble, could not let it move me, as it were. So I resorted to the trusty strategy of ground pounding at random and eventually got the moon. After assaulting this bird, I planted one of 3 seeds in the area and then continued my exploration, stumbling upon the top Serena ruins. I found a bunch of moons in this area, including one at the top of the round tower. This moon actually introduced a new mechanic where we needed to venture through an obstacle course to collect all the moon shards, and my first attempt did not go as planned. Oh, Mario. The second try went much better, but this was nothing compared to the moon shard full tunnel
just wanted to do a little check-in on where I'm at. So how I've been doing it is 3 rows of black, 6 rows of, what was it, Witch's Brew, I think it was called, and another 3 rows of black, and then 3 rows of Goblin, and then you just go back and forth. This is the back panel, so it's long. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly show off what I'm doing in a little bit better view. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to make it cropped or not. It's still pretty short at the moment, so it's too short to be cropped for my comfort, but maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
That's closer than I would have guessed. And that one Rubik's Cube would have really put us over the edge.
It would have.
No, wow. Maybe the company will forgive us for that. Well, so if you get too close to his loot zone, it'll also aggro. Like when he stores his stuff, that's his area.
Sure. That's unfortunate.
So did I kill you, or was it just you in the spawn?
I mean, let's say you did not kill me. So is that better or worse? I think it's better.
I'll take it over the. I'll take it. I'll take it.
No caveats, let's just take it.
Yeah, honestly, I'll just take it.
Alright, he's just gonna take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. You raised our awareness of the threat.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like the canary in the everywhere.
Yeah, I was trying to be aware that something horrible was at the entrance. I just didn't know what or where.
Also,
Yeah.
Mark, how the hell did you get out in my body?
I don't
I
know.
was watching Wade's perspective, and from our perspective, you were just like, that lizard thing came out, and we were like, oh, God!
I
And I was like, oh, Mark's dead.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it was.
We never saw you get back to the door. It's like you went to get Bob, it looked like you kept going, and then you were like, yeah, not fine.
Yeah. I thought it was like a joke or something when you came on the radio, but then you were just standing outside with my body, and I was like, how the...
Look, I don't know. I heard noises and I trusted my instincts and I went outside.
Well, apparently it was a harmless park lizard, whatever the hell that is. I don't know if I've encountered that yet, but fine. We're fine. We're all
He
here.
is, it's just not.
No. Wait, you don't have to run up to me when your head's about to explode.
To be alone.
What happened to you?
Apparently, a tube of toothpaste is enough metal to attract lightning from the sky.
Because I was...
And literally, I was holding it, and it was like buzz, and I was like, whoop, and I dropped it, and I, so,
Okay.
you know,
Very good.
Yeah.
Your
Wait.
flashlight's still on. Do I need to recharge that?
You're right. So, Wade, was there a ghost out there or something?
Oh, yeah.
And as a former marching band section leader, that meant I was 30 minutes late. And I felt really bad, especially when they told me that there were about 60 people waiting in line. And I got fed up really quick and basically apologized to almost everyone for being late. And while my first 2 days of autograph sessions were pretty chill, this was the most people I had show up for one of these. I saw so many people with incredible cosplays who would say it was their absolute first, or say that I'm the reason why they got into making cosplays, or saying that they're gonna compete or want to because of me. And I often feel really weird about sharing that kind of stuff in my videos, because I'm never trying to make it seem like I'm too big for my britches, you know? But I was also not the only cosplayer that was being appreciated at this booth. But the overwhelming number of kind words, like somebody told me that I was a shining light in this community. Like Sunday night after this, I ended up crying in the hotel room about how special that is. And to get coded.
For the designs themselves, I really want to lean strongly into the shapes and color palettes for all of the fruit. So I'm going to really try to design witch hats, capes, dresses, pinafores that evoke the fruit in a very strong shape language type of way. I've been kind of talking about it this whole time, but on my Insta board specifically, I have a lot of really cute witch character designs pinned already. I also have a lot of like Ren Fair outfits and costumes of witches that I have become very inspired by for this video. And finally, of course, I have a subsection in my pins for each of the fruit girls that I'm going to design here today. And this time around, I've pinned a lot lot of things that are just like vibes, you know? I'm probably going to add more pins that have like specific clothing design inspirations that I want to go for these characters, but so far I have a lot of like just aesthetic images that have the general energy that I want to go for each girl. And I also am kind of playing around with the idea of going with times of day as like a sub-theme for this character design group, so I also have some inspiration images in there for that as well. But for now, as usual, I'm going to start out this character design challenge by grabbing my craft sketchbook, my iPad, and working on some rough sketches and some thumbnails. So first, as usual, I took my craft sketchbook and started sketching out just some rough concepts and ideas that I have for these characters. At this stage, I'm really just trying to kind of narrow my scope of what I want. Animations and shape exploration, just generally trying to draw different links between ideas that I had, trying to identify consistent patterns in the ideas. I also just generally started doing a little bit of design work here. Something I've talked about doing in the past that I definitely did here was try to come up with a key shape for each of the characters. Sometimes the key shapes that I come up with are pretty unique, like a lightning bolt or like a rose or something along those lines. Here, I'm really just trying to make similar shapes off of the shapes of the fruits themselves and some of their leaves, trying to figure out ways I can work those into witch hat designs. I kind of ended each of these little exploration sessions by doing a very rough uncolored thumbnail, just trying to nail down some clothing that I would use for each of them and refine some of the silhouettes that I did on the actual paper. And now it's time to do the actual thumbnails, which is all
waste of the piece and the waste of your pattern drawing, and doing your best to kind of correlate where the neckline and various other elements of the drawing should go. It's a lot of guesswork. No matter how you ended up getting your pattern, whether it's roughly tracing it out like me, or super mathematically drafting it out, or grabbing it from a pattern book or like a commercial pattern, whatever method you got your pattern, the next step in my book is always going to be to go ahead and make a mock-up, because that's going to fix to correct that I can go ahead and make this guy a finished wearable mock-up. It's something that I can actually wear in the future if I wanted a pair of bright green stays for an outfit. It's also just nice, kind of like a practice run. When you're putting in your boning, it might be helpful to have a pair of needle nose pliers around. I definitely found it really helpful for getting the bones into any channels that are like a swoosh mark. The bones are in, and now it's time to trim away the rest of the seam allowance here, leaving them on it. Yeah. All right, let's pick out the broken threads and re-stitch it by hand with a much stronger thread. This is actually a lot closer to how the originals were sewn anyways. Sort of whipping the edges together just makes a really nice, good, sturdy seam. I believe that's also why you tend to see trim over the seams on 18th century stays. It's because they're covering up the visible threads on that whipped seam. Now that it's done, I can really see.
All right, and here is the finished cardigan. It's pretty good fit. The sleeves, I definitely could have done better. So I did, well, first on the body, I did 6 rows of a color, 3 rows of black, and then back and forth all the way to the end. It stops at about my hips. And there's the back. I actually got tired doing it about halfway through. I don't know if it was the constant color changing or what, but it just was, I was just tired. And I took a couple of days off at one point after I finished the whole body, and I went, I need to finish it or I'm never going to. So I did a little speed run and I finished one sleeve within like a handful of hours one day, and then I did the other sleeve and stitched up the sides another day. I did this sleeve first, and as you can see, it's not the same. I was like, I don't want to do any more color changes. I did 10 rows of black, 6 rows of a color, and then another 10 rows. Halfway through this first 10, I realized that it was way too wide to be completely straight. Like the cuff would be huge. So I kept debating with myself, how was I going to make it narrower so it would be a more comfortable width? And I just decreased the heck out of it for about 10 rows, all 6 rows of the color, and then like a couple more rows of the black. It made the sleeve a lot shorter than I expected, I thought it would be at the wrist, but like when I wear it, it ends up being a lot shorter. I used up all of that 1 pound black, and then I had more, and I used up about that much of a second regular size one. For the 2 Halloween yarns, I have one of each that are completely untouched. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the sparkly yarn. It was like really rough on my fingers the first few days when I first started crocheting. I definitely got used to it, but overall it doesn't feel as soft as the black, or really any yarn that doesn't have tinsel in it. As for leftover yarn, so I actually, a couple days after I did this sleeve, which is with Goblin, I did the other sleeve, which has Witch's Brew. And I forgot that I did 6 rows on this sleeve. And I had like a decent amount of yarn of Goblin left over. And so I did 10 rows, and I actually ran out and had to use some of the leftover Goblin because I thought I needed to do more, forgetting that it was 6 rows, not 10 of this color. And then I looked at it and I went, because then I started the black, and I was doing there's more like in decreases in the first couple of rows of black, and it was way smaller than it needed to be. I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? And I realized I did too many rows of Witch's Brew. So I had to pull all of that off. So this is all of what's left. This is mostly Witch's Brew with a little bit of Goblin on the inside. I just quickly wound it around my fingers. And then this is all that's left of Goblin because I was so tired of working on the sweater. This was all last night. Finishing this sleeve and doing up the sides. I took a break and I used what was left of Goblin and made another little granny square pouch. I just needed to do something different for a little bit. So yeah, I have that. I don't plan on doing any ribbing, though I might eventually do ribbing just to make the cuffs a little bit longer. Because right now, if I pull them to the length I want them at, you can see it starts to pull it off my shoulders. To have it comfortable on my shoulders causes the sleeves to be too short. But yeah, I'm not going to do any ribbing on the front or along the bottom. Just going to leave it as is. I intentionally didn't have the colors be lined up on the sides here because on the shoulder, so I started on the back, full length, went up, starting from the bottom, went up, and then when I reached the shoulders, I decided I'm just going to keep going. So I did one side, I did 6 black at the top. So, Goblin, and then I did 6, and then I did Witch's Brew, which is the correct order because it goes back and forth, Witch's Brew, Goblin, Witch's Brew. Knowing it would not line up on the sides, I was perfectly fine with that. The color change also, because the panels were much shorter, didn't happen as much as to how much it happens on the back. And then after I did one side, I just went to the other side, added 3 rows of black, and then continued with the same pattern, which is Brew Goblin, all the way down. I don't know, I actually ended up with a little less of the Witch's Brew before I started doing the sleeves. I don't know how that happened. But because I used some of the Goblin for that granny square, I now have more of it. But yeah, that is everything for this. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was more of a chill, kind of like throw it in the background kind of video, crochet with me kind of thing. Obviously, it's very repetitive the way I was filming. I have this like bendable stand. As you can see, I changed the angle. All 4 of the legs used to be like this, but I changed them so that it could hook to the top edge of my laptop, and these would rest against the screen, and then I would put the phone here and film myself crochet, which works. It's wobbly because it's, you know, this is just rubber and wire, and then it's also on a laptop, but it's fine. My next crochet project is planned. Unfortunately, I was not able to pick up the yarn in person, so I just ordered it, so I'll be waiting for that. So it may be about a week until I can start my next crochet project. By the time this comes out, today's August 1st, my videos I've got a bit of a backlog of videos. So by the time this comes out, I most likely will have started the next crochet project. And it's not, surprisingly, it's not Halloween themed, even though I was so excited. The tinsel yarn, I think, kind of put me off it a little bit. Or maybe it was just the colors. I did try to order some of the Big Twist Halloween colors, and I got 2 of them. They're actually right here. So I have Vamp, I have 2 of these. And I have Witch's Potion, and I have 2 of these. I tried to buy 4 of the Big Twist Spooky Season, but it sold out before I got to it. And apparently it's going to be completely unavailable from Hirschner's, and I'm really bummed because it was just orange and black, and I had always wanted to use that yarn, but was never able to get it because it was never in my Joann's, and it was always sold out on the Joann's website, and I waited too long, and I didn't get the one color I really wanted. So maybe I'll do something with one of those while I wait for my other yarn to come. Maybe the Witch's Brew, or Witch's Potion, excuse me, that's Witch's Potion. And I honestly like those colors much more than this one, because they're a little bit brighter, there's no tinsel, and there's also white in there, which brightens the whole thing up. Maybe a hat. Maybe I'll make another bucket hat, not that I ever wear bucket hats. But seeing I only have 2 of each, and I don't want them combined together to make something, I don't know, I'm just rambling. Thank you so much for watching. If you like crochet, sewing, or any other kinds of crafts, please consider a follow. I upload every Sunday, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!